Welcome to the Public Speaking Experts Podcast with Elliot K. and Jose Ucar. Every week we bring the tips, tools, and strategies for you to become a world-class public speaker. We bring you guests, experts, and authorities in the field of public speaking to enrich you and enhance your public speaking journey. Remember to subscribe, rate, and comment. And now, please welcome your hosts, Elliot and Jose.
Boom.
Got an itchy nose.
Oh,
Can you
yeah,
shake
it
my
happens
hand, please?
sometimes. Yes, please. Yeah.
Shake my hand. Because you know when they get an itchy nose, they say they're going to have an argument.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, there we go.
So,
It wouldn't, well, another one for a change. You mean between us, yes?
yeah, we never really had an argument.
No.
Have we ever had an argument?
No, that's what I'm saying. No.
What,
So I'm saying
you
no.
Are you saying we've had an argument? Is that what you're saying?
So is that what you're saying, mate? No, I said no.
No,
but
no,
if you want to have
listen.
No, now you
Yeah.
listen. No, you want to
No,
have an
you
argument
listen.
now. No, mate. No, you listen
No,
to me,
mate.
mate. You don't know who you're talking to, mate. You don't know what I've been
I
through.
do know
innit?
I'm talking to this
What?
guy.
Okay,
Peter,
this
where
guy.
are you? I'm on Riverside, mate.
So there you go.
There we go.
So listen. What's going on?
I'm
What's the
I'm all
crack?
ears.
What's happening?
Well, yeah, it's
What's the
here.
buzz?
It's
What's
all good,
the
mate.
chimichanga?
Well, the chimichanga is ready. It's hot.
Is it?
Although it should be cold, but hey.
Is it hot and it's cold? It's yes, it's no, it's right and it's wrong. You're up and you're down and you're in and you're out. Is that right?
Which song is that one?
Katy Perry, because you're hot
Okay,
and you're
Katy Perry.
cold, you're yes and you're
yes
no,
and
you're in
no.
and you're out,
You're
up
out,
and you're
up
down.
and you're down.
That's right.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love Katy Perry. Well, you know what?
Do
She
you?
would be a
How much
diva,
do you
and
love
I would
her?
be happy.
How much do you love her?
Like from 1 to 10, like 11 and a half.
11.
Yeah.
Would you have babies with her?
Why do I have to answer those questions online? I mean, I have a wife. I used to remember I liked the song, I kissed a girl and I liked it.
Tastes like
I
cherry
never-
chapstick. You have
Yeah,
so
no,
you,
no.
you say you love her 11. What kind of love are we talking? Is it like brotherly love? Is it like tea love? A granny love? Is it romantic
Yeah,
love?
it is granny
sexual?
granny
Granny
love,
love.
100% granny love. Yeah, 100% granny love. It is a platonic type of love that I had before I got married for the second time. So there we go. I've learned my lesson. Just love the one woman.
No woman, no cry.
No cry.
No woman, no cry.
And I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
when we
When we
used to
used to
sing.
And the little girl ran in Trent's Town.
In
Anyway, there we go.
Trenchtown.
Destroying a classic song there. But you know
Wow,
what's
sorry,
quite
people.
interesting? Quite interesting is what I didn't mean to do, but what I did, which is quite in line with what we're talking about today.
And why are you pointing at me with that pen?
Because I can. For those of you listening
okay.
on the podcast, you
question.
can't see, but I'm actually pointing at him with a pen. And if you go on the YouTube channel, Public Speaking Expert Show on YouTube channel, you will see that I'm pointing with a pen.
Ow.
So tell me, what's today's episode?
Oh, today, people, we are speaking about vulnerability.
Vulnerability.
But you were going to be making a point with the pen and everything else. So you got me there waiting. You left me hanging, mate. And I want to know, what was the point you were going to make? Or is it coming later?
Well, I kind of pushed you to a vulnerable space there, didn't I?
Oh, did you?
So-
With Katy Perry? Yeah, I felt
Yeah.
very vulnerable.
You did for a minute. You got a bit scared. Like, ooh, how do I answer this? So why is vulnerability quite an important factor of being a speaker, right? Because here's what I see. I mean, it depends on the speaker you are, of course, right? And this is the Public Speaking Expert Show. Now, we've interviewed a variety of speakers, a variety of expertise, but also I find that a lot of people mistake vulnerability for weakness. What you got to say about that, y'all?
Oh, regarding your statement
Yeah.
or vulnerability as a whole?
No, I find a lot of people think vulnerability is weakness, especially when it comes to
Yeah.
standing on stage.
Hmm.
What you got to say about
And-
that, y'all?
And
Was my
I
question.
find that a lot with men most of the time, even more than women. And I would say it's
But
actually
why?
the opposite. It is actually, well, okay, can I answer the one question now, or so why as well?
No, go for it. Go for it. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
So going back to your statement, I would say it's actually the opposite. It can be a strength, and I see it
It
as a
is.
strength. Well,
I think it is a strength.
So you want me to answer the question, but yeah, it is a strength. Of course, I believe it is a strength as well. This is what I'm saying. I'm building a bit of momentum here instead of just answering the question. Yeah, it is a strength, absolutely. And I find, and I'm going to generalize here with men, that overall we don't tend to share, and I'm generalizing here, people. We don't tend to share. We don't tend to be as open. We think being vulnerable, sharing feelings is a weakness, and it's something men don't cry, and we get all of these programs that are embedded in our unconscious, decisions that we made, decisions that people planted in there when we were growing up. And then no wonder we struggle in some other areas of our lives, opening up when it comes to feelings and emotions. What happens when we are able to do this for women and men? We show that we are, even though we are the authority, even though we are the expert on that stage speaking where we are vulnerable, we show that we are human beings as well. And there's nothing wrong with it if you use it with purpose. We also connect with the audience, as I said, at a human level. And that is very important. We can speak then about the different elements where we're speaking, but yeah, I would say it is definitely a strength. It is good to open up. And I'm not saying here that you just go crying and sharing, stories that are painful for you, or maybe you can do as well. But there is always a reason for it whenever you want to share it, how you want to share it. I'm thinking about the moments, even without planning it, I felt the connection with the audience, and I've decided to share something, that's probably deeper for me or more emotional. And it's created incredible connection. So definitely a strength, especially when you use it well. And you're not using it because you want to influence the audience. No, you're using it, which it will, but you're using it because you really want to share something that's deep. That's my bit before I get to way deeper. You were gonna ask me another question or something. Now you're gonna be silent. Okay. Well, thank you very much for a change. I'm happy to carry on.
So it's interesting that even when you use the example of vulnerability, you talked about crying. So is vulnerability all about crying?
No. that's a pause. No, not about crying. Vulnerable. It's sharing emotions, opening up, whatever those emotions are. For me, I haven't been crying on stage, but there have been moments where my voice has trembled because I'm sharing something that is linked to my topic. It's also down to the kind of topics we speak about, okay, as speakers. So I think that we can make the differentiation here, because vulnerable is opening up. This is my map of the world, when you open up to something. And as Elliot likes to say, is it you who likes to say this, that it's also good to speak from a healed scar and not an open wound? It is you. And that is something that applies very well to speaking, because then you're still in control, but you're sharing something that connects with the audience differently, shares who you are as a human being. Over to you, brother. I want to hear your take on this, because you have a lot to say. I can see it. I can feel it coming, especially when you start interrupting me. It means that, yeah, I want to share. Come on, share. Now
I
you
can
share.
feel it coming in the air
At night.
right now. Well, I think people, yeah. I mean, I did a talk last week at a school, right? I mean, there were 14-year-olds. And I've dissected, basically, I talked about, analyzed some of the key young speakers in the world, or young when I analyzed it. And obviously, what a lot of them show is vulnerability. And I asked the kids, I was like, okay, would you be vulnerable if you were doing a public talk? And they were like, no. It's like, why? They're like, well, because it shows weakness. And I was like, interesting. Now, notice when we talk about the power of vulnerability, we're not talking about the power of getting really personal, or the power of revealing your deepest, darkest secrets. That's not what we're talking about. The power of vulnerability. Now, being vulnerable has different layers in different ways, but instantly people associate vulnerability to being on the floor crying, to something really dark and something very extreme. It doesn't have to be that. It can be admitting you got it wrong. It can be admitting that, yes, there was adversity in your life. It can be a variety of things, right? It could be admitting of what's going on in your current life that hasn't always been there. I asked them a question. I said, listen, guys, with all the love in the world, if I told you that I grew up with an alcoholic father, does that make me weak? I'm like, no. So if I told you then that I have been bankrupt and I've lost things and I've rebuilt the businesses, does that make me weak? They're like, no. I said, if I as I stand in front of you right now, what do you see? They said, well, we see someone very strong who's telling us the truth. I said, there you go. So I think a lot of times vulnerability there needs to be an education piece about vulnerability. It's also finding the right bits of vulnerability to be vulnerable about. So of course, there's other stuff that's gone on in my life, but that wasn't the appropriate vulnerability dust to sprinkle at that moment in that talk. And then a lot of people, they go very extreme with their vulnerability. That's too much. When we interviewed Daryl, right, Stinson, in one of the previous episodes, he talked about how when he was first emerging as a speaker, loads of people were coming up to him, giving him hugs and going, "You okay? You've got this. You can survive this." Because what he was showing was actually, first of all, that he was speaking from an open wound, but B, his vulnerability was so extreme that people didn't feel inspired. They felt empathetic for him to go through it. And again, it's knowing what parts and how to position the elements of vulnerability that make you strong, give you that power, right? And I think that's what we need to be aware of when we talk about the power of vulnerability. And you think of anyone right now that you relate to in the world, I'm pretty certain they sprinkle amount of vulnerability when you see them talk, when you see them on social media, right? Again, it does depend what field you're in. If you're a scientist dealing with curing a disease, a fatal disease, then you don't really need to be particularly vulnerable. You just need to talk about the data, right? But then outside of that space, there's always room for a certain amount of vulnerability. I've got a new saying. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Just came to
come
me.
on.
Vulnerability creates relatability.
Did you just come up with that on the spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where's
Because
my
it
mic
does
drop? I need a mic drop. I need a
vulnerability.
mic
Hold
drop
on.
sound
Yeah,
effect.
yeah, exactly. Plank.
How about I do? Wait, I'm gonna do this again. Ready? You ready? Ready? Vulnerability creates relatability.
It's like Pac-Man. I love that one, Elliot. And even as you were sharing, even if you're a scientist or an engineer, you can also, if you see that it's going to help you elevate or illustrate your point differently as well, or make it more impactful, because you can share your failures. You finally arrived to the cure, but how many times did you fail? Because I think nowadays, especially, well, I'm going to go especially for children, teenagers, growing up, we tend to see loads of different facets online, and there is loads still of Mrs. and Mr. Perfect, that they've just done it, and all you see is the tip of the iceberg, and that is not very vulnerable. They never sharing how much they struggle in order to get there. What were their failures? How was their journey towards it? For me, it is crucial in a speech, of course, depending on what the topic is and the points I want to drive home and everything else. What do I want people to take away? Sorry, I lost. Speak for a moment, Elliot. Oh, you used me to. Okay.
I was
Sorry.
coughing, so I muted myself.
No, that's fine. No, thank you very much for that. I just lost you for a moment. I thought.
I mean, I can cough in the mic if you want.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, cough a little bit. Fantastic. Thank you very much. And I was saying that I do like, and I don't plan to say I'm going to incorporate vulnerability here. But as a speaker, I want to share my failures, because I believe there is much more learning in the failures than actually in those successes that I've had. Because all of the failures were the ones that led to where I am today. And I don't like to be seen on a pedestal, even though as speakers, we are sometimes on stage and it's actually higher ground. But I want just to, as Elliot said, relate to them as human beings at the same level. And that has to do with the style of speaker as well, I would say. So it's just humanity, showing that you are not perfect. And as we spoke on the previous episode, there's no perfection. There's only progress. And sharing that is key. And that is going to be more impactful and helpful for people if you want them to take action, to do something with it. Instead of saying, yeah, this is just the solution to all of your problems, here you go. It's way more powerful to actually share the journey you've been through, everything that you worked on for you to be where you are today. That's my bit on vulnerability. Okay. You are listening to the Public Speaking Experts podcast, and Elliot and myself are delighted to have you here. Thank you so much for listening. We want to invite you to subscribe, share, leave us a comment. And when you do that, take a snapshot, send it to Elliot or myself, and we will send you incredible presents, gifts, or a copy of one of our books. Yes, incredible, I know. And today, this is being sponsored by Elliot. You help me out here because you remember the name of this better than I do. The show we are doing together that you are organizing, where we're going to be speaking. What is that called again?
Speaking in the New World.
Speaking in the New World. Yes, we really want to promote this, get this out there. Incredible speakers on the 8th of April in London, but we're going to be live streaming it, so it will be a virtual event for you, and we want to encourage as many people as possible to join. We're going to be touching on so many different topics. Elliot is going to be the MC. I may help him MCing as well. I'm going to be speaking. My talk is going to be your accent is your asset, advocating for change and equality. People, we're building an incredible community here. We want you to be part of it. We're going to be sharing the link here. And if you want to connect with us, we'll send it to you as well. Sign up. We cannot wait to have you there. It would be our pleasure. And of course, if you want to book myself or Elliot as speakers or coaches, just drop us a line. That's all I can say for now. Let's carry on with today's conversation, which I'm loving, by the way.
Yeah, I love the conversations of today.
Elliot, I wanted to say I've got 6 more minutes because I'm supposed Anna is taking me out to watch Batman. Yeah, we're going to be watching Batman.
I'm so jealous.
I know. And it was a surprise, not from Anna, from our previous flatmate. She's amazing. So I need to drop her a message as well. And then she's going to take me out for dinner. So there we go.
Okay, let's do this. Right. So 3 tips where people can be more vulnerable. What would you say they are?
Okay, one is don't be vulnerable just for the sake of it, because I want to be vulnerable, because I want to connect with the audience. Okay, that's the one thing I would say. It's a big no, in my opinion. The second one is whenever you feel that you want to share something, use that opportunity to open up. And it's not to say that you're going to be crying, as Elliot said, but it can be a failure. It can be something that impacted you. Share something that will be relevant for the audience instead of just sharing all the perfect stuff and all the great achievements that you've had. And the third one, well, Elliot, I'm going to use your line. Make sure that you have dealt with those emotions. If it's something that, it's very meaningful for you, it's very close to your heart, make sure that you're speaking from a healed scar and not an open wound, because that will share that you've got control of your topic as well, control of that story that you're sharing. And as Elliot shared before, the story of, what was his name? Michael. Oh, I don't know what is it with me and names. Stilton. The speaker we had, Daryl Stinson. There we go.
Yes.
Oh, goodness me. Daryl, I'm sorry if you're listening to this, buddy. And what you want at the end is people to, in a way, respect you, connect with you, but not feel sorry for you. So those would be my 3 bits on vulnerability. And I love you all, everybody. Over to you, Elliot K, to take it away.
Look at you rhyming. Remember, the vulnerability creates relatability.
I love that one.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't put the volume back up.
No, senor.
Well, there we go.
Well, say it again. Oh, I see.
Vulnerability
I think we can
creates relatability. There we go. Awesome stuff. So listen, I think it's true. And what I would suggest also to be more vulnerable is test things out. Also remember, what is going to appeal to the audience? How is you being vulnerable going to elevate the audience? But I think Jose said it before that, when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we allow ourselves to be human. We show sides to our audience that they may never, ever get to see. So make sure you use it wisely. So while vulnerability is a power, it also comes with great responsibility. Okay. It's always done to empower, never manipulate. Please remember that. So with vulnerability comes responsibility. Oh yeah, I'm on
You
it.
got another one.
I'm on it.
Come on.
Oh, that's it. Pow, pow. I need the mic drop one. Jose.
Yeah,
So
look
brilliant.
for that one, definitely. Woo!
Absolutely. It's been another episode of recordings this Monday. Thank you for everybody that listens on a regular basis. Thank you to everybody that's following, subscribe. Please share this with your friends. If you want us to come in and do some talks, do some trainings, reach out. Join us on the 8th of April, where you get to see Jose speak and many other speakers. TED Talks, they're all going to do 20 minutes. Plus, we've got leaders from their industry speaking as well. We've got Helena Horlick speaking. We've got Sean Clark speaking about the color of psychology, and we've got Simone Vincenzi who's going to probably talk about how the importance of